Hey everybody, Rick Ellis here. I'd like to run you through a typical night of me rolling and talk about how I approach it as a guy in his 50s. First up, Jordan. I mentioned in one of my videos that I always try to pick someone technical for my first roll as a warm-up round. Jordan is a lot of fun because he can be totally playful and his transitions are very smooth. The first round, I'm just trying to start moving, get some blood flowing, and break a sweat. Nothing crazy. Here I'm going for a tripod sweep. Oh, nice angle to deny my legs, but he exposed his back slightly. I think I'll go for a back step here. This is an entry we use for the 411 position. I'm going a little shallow because I've been playing with a variation. I'll drop in and grab a heel hook. This is one of my favorite ways to pass the guard because it's so easy, using my shin to block and take them over. Jordan is great at going with the momentum of a sweep and turning it into an advantage. Here he sets up an arm bar, followed by a really nice back take. That was excellent, Jordan. I'll just slip past his knees here. Sometimes causing your opponent to pivot can be a great way to pass the guard. We're both doing a bit of leg pummeling here, and I managed to float into knee on belly. Collar choke. You have to be quick at getting your hands into position to be good at chokes, but Jordan defends, so I pivot to the north-south Kimura position and then drop into spider web for an armbar. Jordan has his head on my thigh for the escape, so I'll transition to the back and see if I can set up a bow and arrow choke. This is a great example of having your pathways really mapped out so you can efficiently go from one thing to another. Oh, this is so nice, Jordan. See how Jordan initially blocks my right side, but then switches to the left for the sweep. That was so good. Now he's setting up a bread cutter transition to mount, but I'm going to harpoon sweep him over. I don't quite have the angle here, but I'm heavier than him, so I can make it work. Now I'm setting up my own bread cutter. You can see my left hand under his armpit at the collar. And I sprawl to get the finish. Here's another one of my favorite ways to pass the guard. Just push the leg across and slip by. Jordan is very good at using the instep of his feet to block my advance, so I need to reset. Jordan is trying to set up a tripod sweep. When you're flowing with someone, it's important to offer only a little bit of resistance. We're just flowing. Jordan already had his first hand in my collar right off the sweep, and he finishes with a cross collar choke as I come up. Okay, this is a really good sequence. I counter Jordan's tripod sweep attempt by looking for kind of a leg drag ashigarami position. But look at what Jordan does with my triceps. He's going to pull it as he shifts into an omoplata setup. Very nice. I counter by stepping over, and he counters by inverting. He's got a very nice triangle choke set up from there, but I pulled my arm out preemptively to deny it. Just a couple dudes playing jiu-jitsu. I like to use the choke from guard to prompt a leg opening, but he uses it to set up an omoplata, which I counter by dropping into a leg lock. He peels the leg off to stand up and defend, but look what I do with my left leg. I force him to go farther than he intended. Sometimes adding to someone's momentum can disrupt their plans, but Jordan adjusted and captured my bottom arm with his shin and pinned me. Again, being able to adjust while you're in the air is so important in jiu-jitsu. Jordan's very good at that. And then he sets up a north-south kimura. If you don't have guys at your school that you can be playful with, you're really missing out on opportunities to get a lot more fluid. Flowing well takes practice. Okay, time is running out. I'm going to sweep him and get to the top and start my guard pass. And we're out of time. Well done, Jordan. Next up is Jeff. 20 years younger than me, 30 pounds heavier. Jeff just got out of the Marines and he can deadlift like 450 pounds, so I need a slightly different strategy than with Jordan. I'm a big fan of pinning the knees and configuring my body into a tripod so I can transfer all my weight into my hands. I'm just trying to be heavy here to get past the legs, but he attacks my neck, so I need to bail. Notice my grips right at the knees. If you're not sure where to grip, the knees can be pretty useful. Usually I recommend gripping near a joint. Jeff has a pretty good half guard game which he manages to force on me. You'll notice I immediately go perpendicular. Jeff trained for a while at a 10th Planet gym, so I need to avoid his lockdown. The way I do that is by hiding my right leg and positioning myself 90 degrees. Look at how I'm overwrapping his hip in order to keep him pinned. I'm in no hurry. Being patient is one of the major strategies I want to convey in this video. The second major strategy is being able to hold a position as you increment toward the finish. Let's jump ahead a little since we got video bombed. I'm trying to get my knee up to pass his half guard. Jeff tries to sweep me, but I counter with some leg pummeling, and now I'm in side control. I'm not in full control yet, and Jeff has my right arm trapped, so I need to deal with that. The way I deal with that entanglement is to relax my arm, then shuck my elbow over when there's an opening. Just trying to increment my position. I'm not in any hurry to make something happen. As an older athlete, my only objective is to stay on top and make him work harder than me. I'm trying to be a blanket, constantly blocking his escape attempts. I'm trying to move myself up to the corner to start attacking for a finish, but Jeff senses danger and goes to north-south to try to barrel roll me. Notice I've got my grips under his armpits. That's very useful from north-south. Okay, now I've switched my base into Kazuri Kesa. I like to set up a gi tail choke from this position. I stole this from Roy Dean. He does this all the time and it works great against bigger guys. I'm trying to get the gi tail out, which I'm going to pass to my left hand under his neck. Again, I'm in no hurry. You might think this is boring jiu-jitsu, but trust me, when you're in your 50s, you don't have the fuel tank to constantly recover from lost positions. Okay, there we go. There's the gi tail handoff. Now, as soon as I have a clear lane, I'm going to step over with my left leg to finish the choke. In one of my other videos, I mentioned that getting the tap just takes longer when you're older. You have to be patient and not try to force something. Otherwise, you can easily lose the position and use a lot of fuel to recover, especially against a big, strong guy like Jeff. Okay, this time I'll start on the bottom, but I immediately get control of Jeff's right arm and grab his belt to see if I can set up a harpoon sweep. I've been doing this sweep since I was a blue belt, and it's a very high percentage one for me. And now back to the strategy of staying on top, making Jeff work harder than me and incrementing my position toward a finish. Remember, patience is the key. A big part of creating pressure is about taking up space, occupying space. I'm thinking about attacking that arm, but I'm a little worried about getting rolled, so you'll see me preemptively post out with my right arm in case Jeff attempts to sweep me. Jeff tries to counter by going north-south, but I jump ahead to side control on the opposite side. Then we go to the other side. It's not always about being 100% in control of your opponents. Sometimes you have to let go so you can get to the next position. Nicely done, Jeff. He managed to recover guard, so now it's back to guard passing for me. One of the keys to dealing with butterfly guard is keeping your head lower than theirs, so I'm trying to stay very low. You can't see it, but Jeff put me back into half guard, so I'm just trying to pin his knees and stay heavy. He has my arm here, so I need to be careful both with the Kimura attack and the potential of getting rolled to the top side. I'm actually using his half guard for stability. There we go, I'm out. Straight to mount, setting up a collar choke. Jeff tries to sweep me, but I manage to get ahead of it. He then goes to turtle, so I transition to his hips and beat his knee as he tries to recover guard. Let's slow that down. I've got my hand in the collar to set up a choke, but I don't have base on my right side, making me susceptible to being rolled with Jeff attempts. Look at my left leg. When people try to roll me from mount, I usually windshield wiper my leg and then try to use that momentum to go to knee on belly. Jeff created quite a bit of momentum here, forcing me farther over, but I managed to land on my feet. As he goes to turtle, my goal immediately switched and I transitioned to his hips for control. Jeff senses a window of opportunity to get back to guard, but I get ahead of him and pass the guard. Let's look at this again at full speed. I don't typically move real fast when I roll, but you have to have your pathways mapped out and know when to hit the accelerator. Jeff does a really good job here. Look how he's arm dragging me with his right arm. He's going to try to cut the corner and take my back. I don't mind people taking my back, but I do fight pretty hard to prevent them getting the seatbelt, which allows me to slip down and out. Always fight against underhooks. It's much harder to control you if you don't let people get them. Okay, time to start playing some guard. Jeff likes to drive forward and push my knee across so he can go to mount. My solution to that is to push on his head and threaten an omoplata. He's wise to it though, so he's fighting to keep my right leg from getting free, so it's time for a different plan. That's critical as an older grappler, knowing when to go to that next thing. In this case, I'm going to switch my hips and try to sweep him. There it is. Sweeps are all about moving your hips under your opponents. Okay, back to my standard pressure game. I'm thinking about that gi tail choke again, but Jeff is wise to it. He's not going to let me do that twice. I call this seal control, where I frame next to someone's head and hips and drop my own hips low. I do this purely to rest and give myself a little break. Okay, knee on belly. Jeff makes a mistake here by pushing on my knee, giving me his arm. Turn the corner and get to what I call the north-south kimura position. And now I can drop into spider web. Again, this might not look like super dynamic jiu-jitsu, but you'll notice that I'm not breathing very hard. I'm playing a very conservative, pressure-based game, one that allows me to stay relaxed and not have to work too hard. My primary goal is not the submission. I'm focused on staying on top and retaining control. If I go for a submission, it's only when I can do it without losing position. I don't know how this turned into 2 6-minute rounds with Jeff, but here we are, still going at it. I'll play a little guard, but Jeff forces me into half guard. I'm thinking about setting up that harpoon sweep again so I can get to the top, but Jeff is doing a pretty good job of keeping his hips low, so instead I switch to the half butterfly hook. Look at my right instep. There, that half butterfly hook. I use that to sweep from half guard, but again, Jeff is being heavy, so I don't have the angle. He did give me his arm though, but he's too strong, so I let it go. Okay, now I'm getting into deep water, so I need to find a solution. Jeff wants to get past my knee, but look at how I'm pushing on his head. It's hard for him to advance if I'm driving his head toward his hips. Pushing on the head is a very effective way to stop big guys from advancing. Plus, I'm thinking it might give me a pathway to attack his right arm for an omoplata. There we go, now I'm on the hunt. He does not want to let go of my right leg. Oh, so close. It's okay to let people roll out of the omoplata as long as you can slow them down and stay attached. Now I can backstep over to the triangle choke. The clock is about to run out, so the only thing I'm thinking right now is don't lose the position and keep squeezing. Got the tap just in the nick of time. Well done, Jeff. He's going to be a nightmare in another year or two. Up next is Nick. Don't let the white belt fool you. Nick is a judo black belt and a karate black belt. He's also about a week away from doing his blue belt test in BJJ, so he's a pretty skilled guy. My strategy needs to be on point with Nick or I'm going to end up flying across the room. Watch my angles. My strategy is to circle away from his power and keep my stance bladed in relation to him. He goes for a sumigaeshi, but I knee tap him. He reaches over my back to get my belt, but as he goes to back roll and throw me, I tap his knee to disrupt his timing. Look at my left hand. There, I pull his leg in to disrupt his timing. Sometimes a small disruption can throw the entire timing of a throw off. Okay, back to my pressure passing. Look how I reach through and grab his foot. That's one of my favorite ways to get past people's knees. There, I'm past. Now I focus next on hip control. I don't have shoulder line control yet, so I need to stay attached to the hip. It's like climbing a ladder. The first rung is the knees, the next is the hips, then the shoulders. He's got a good frame on my hip. Usually I just try to smash that with my own hips. Nick tries to roll me, but I float with it and backstep. Okay, I think I've got decent control now. Let's see if I can get an exposure for a submission. Nope, he's too greasy. He rolls to turtle, then recovers guard. Well done, Nick. Sometimes when someone has you clinched from guard, if you're not in danger, just wait for them to get tired of holding that position. You don't want to waste energy if you're not in danger. Let them burn themselves out. And now I can start working on passing the guard. And back to hip control. Sprawl and pass the guard. Again, I'm just trying to be a blanket, occupying as much space as I can, controlling the hips so they can't escape. There's that foot control again. That's money. I'm overwrapping his hip again because I don't have shoulder line control yet. As soon as I can advance higher, I'll let go of the hip. It's not about forcing your next position. It's about waiting until the time is right. Again, patience. There we go. I call this position the corner smash. Maybe I'll do a video on it one of these days because it's a great way to control big, strong guys. There's my opening for the armbar. The main thing to notice here is how tightly I'm pulling Nick in. My only goal right now is to secure spider web. I've got my feet crossed so I can pull him in with my legs, and I'm pulling in on Nick's far arm. See how I'm ratcheting him in tighter and tighter? My primary goal is to not lose the position. Now I'm ready to go for the submission. I glanced up at the clock and I see there's only a minute left. Sometimes when that's the case and I've already gotten my sub, I'll switch to defensive mode and let my opponent work for their own submission. Doing so gives them a chance to work their game, and it gives me a chance to work on my defense. I'm giving Nick a decent amount of resistance, but not too much. And he gets the pass. Let's see what he can finish with. This is really good right here. Watch what Nick does with my left arm. He pins it with his leg, right there. Now he can access my neck for the north-south choke. That was really well done. Well done, Nick. This is Ryan, purple belt, 35 years younger than me and much more athletic. Look how I grab his belt. It lets me sweep him. Of course, Ryan's not going to let me do that, so he's back up. He attacks for the knee bar. Ryan's leg attacks are pretty solid. I post up on his leg to deny his angle. Oh, he wants that leg. Pulls it across for the inside heel hook. I'm in danger now. I need to swim it back out and put some weight on it. There we go. Now back to my passing game. And I'm passed. You can't see it, but I've got his gi tail wrapped under his neck. Ryan has his right arm across my hip line. He's trying to set up for the ghost escape, so I need to stay tight and keep him flat. You can see that gi tail now. I've got it secured under his neck to try to set up that step over choke. There I go. Notice I'm posting on my head to keep from getting rolled. Problem is, Ryan is tucking his chin and he can be very hard to tap. He's trying to escape by going north-south, but notice how I've gotten control of his lapels by going under his armpits. That's what prevents his escape. I'm thinking about a bread cutter choke here, but Ryan is very hard to tap.
I just want to go back.
Okay, let's see if I can get his arm. There it is, Americana. Nope. One of the challenges with a guy like Ryan is I have to relinquish some degree of control to go for a submission, but in doing so I have to know when to bail on the attempt because he could escape if I hold on too long. Ah, nicely done. Beautiful sweep, Ryan. Time for me to get to work. When I'm playing bottom, one of the things you'll notice is how much I hand fight. My goal is to control Ryan's left arm so he can't get his grips, and I'm keeping my chin tucked to avoid the choke. It's much easier to escape if you don't let guys lock you down. Okay, Ryan's on the hunt now. Did you see that little buck? I did that to get both my arms through his legs so I can escape through the back. I don't want to end up in a scramble though, so I'll retain tight control of his leg. And now if I can capture his left arm, I might be able to sweep him. There it is. And now I go straight to double underhook so I can try to pass. Problem is, Ryan is scooping under my left arm trying to pull it free so he can triangle me. I'm kind of stuck now and I need to be real careful or I'll get triangled. Man, he's just tenacious with my left arm, so I'm stuck. Patience is often necessary. It's common to get into trouble because you're trying to force something to happen. There we go. There's the angle I need, but Ryan is adjusting nicely, trying to recover guard. I need to keep his hips off the mat and drive my own hips onto his for leverage. There we go. And I immediately go for an arm scissor choke. But man, Ryan is just so annoyingly hard to tap. We all have physical constraints and it takes discipline to not exceed them. That's the only way you can be certain that if you had to fight for an hour straight, you could do it. Maybe I can get the arm, but I just can't give Ryan an inch of space though. That's the challenge. "15 seconds left, running out of time to get the tap. Looks like Ryan's going to survive this one." And we're out of time. That's the old man way. Sometimes you don't get the tap, but that's okay.